You have heard about Ghana's heartbreaking exit from the 2010 World Cup in South Africa. But what you don't know is the full epic saga behind the adventure, the triumphs, the struggles, and the controversial moments that crashed a nation's dreams. Representing the entire continent as the hope of Africa, they united people across borders and had a whole region daring to dream of unprecedented glory. Their historic run to the quarterfinal was like something of a movie script. But then came that fateful night in Johannesburg. One handball, one missed penalty, and just like that, Ghana's storybook journey went from potential African trailblazers to utter devastation in a matter of seconds. Since then, I've obsessively tried to make sense of those dying moments. Prepare to relive all the dramatic twists and turns as I retell everything step by step. Buckle up, because this emotional roller coaster is one hell of a ride. So a month before the 2010 World Cup began, FIFA announced the slogan that every team bars will carry. On Ghana's bars, the hope of Africa. How can Ghana, who was the second in the world, be the hope for Africa? How can Ghana, who had missed his best player going to the tournament, that is Michael Essien, be the hope of Africa? So Ghana announced on 27th May, that's like a month to the tournament, that Michael Essien was going to be injured for the tournament. And in the run-in to play the World Cup, Ghana had played against Netherlands, and Ghana lost 4-1 against Netherlands. And then the next game against Latvia, we won 1-0. That was when Kevin Prince Boateng made his debut. Go from Quincy Usabi was enough for Ghana to win the game by 1-0. But many Ghanaians were worried going to the World Cup. How were we even going to go 1-0 against Nigeria, and then Ghana won 1-0 against Angola, only to qualify for the final to be beaten by Egypt? And this one-goal project thing continued for a while. So while we were going for the 2010 World Cup, that was what was in the mind of Ghanaians. At least we won 1-0. Australia was at the time 20th in the world. Serbia was at the time 15th in the world, and then Germany was at the time 6th place team in the world, and Ghana was the team that was the 32nd in the world. A lot of people were saying that Ghana were going to be knocked out because we were facing teams that had better rankings in terms of world ranking than Ghana. And then in the run into the 2010 World Cup, Ghana appointed a Serbian, that is Relive. Relive got to play in the World Cup in 2010, had a team that had the likes of Sinapia, Sule Muntari, and Andre Ayew, John Pencil, and Steven Tonoro Apia. And in the 2010 for South Africa, we had the new boy on the block, that is Kevin Prince Boateng, also to join the team. At least he came in to replace the injured Michael Essien. Relive, who is a Serbian, was a bit familiar with the Serbian team, and because of that, he deployed tactics that helped Ghana to win the game 1-0 against Serbia. And in that game, one of the Serbians had a red card, and Ghana scored a penalty kick also to make sure Ghana could win the game. It was Asamoah Gyan who came to kick that penalty kick for Ghana Black Stars. Take note. And Ghana had their first 3 points against Serbia. When Relive won the game for Ghana, he did not celebrate against Serbia because that was the country of his birth. And the next game too against Australia, Ghana was really prepared and the momentum was coming up. None of the Africans won their games. But the strong start didn't also mean that Ghana was going to have a smooth ride in the tournament, because our two centre backs who were starting the game for Ghana, Isaac Vosa and then John Mensah, also got injured in the game against Serbia. Ghana went into the game against Australia without any experienced centre back. We had Jonathan Mensah and then Lee Addy played their topmost game for Ghana against Australia. Australia was 20th best team in the world, and Ghana were going to play against them without our top centre backs. Australia got the first goal, but it wasn't also the fault of the centre backs. The fault was from the captain of the day, the reliable Richard Olalekinson. He spilled it back to the Australians, and the Australians got the first goal. Ghana got themselves coming to the game thanks to a dribble by Andre Ayew on the flanks. Ghana got a penalty kick, and Harry Kewell was sent off. Ghana got the equalizer against Australia in the 24th minute of the game. Ghana won, Australia won. Ghana Black Stars tried every means possible to make sure they get the winner against Australia, but it did not happen. Thanks to Mark Schwarzer and the excellent performance he put in for the Australians. The game ended 1-1, Ghana had 4 points, and Ghana Black Stars were on the verge of qualifying to the next stage of the competition. But after the game, Sule Muntari, who hadn't really played yet in the tournament, was really upset. He was shouting and screaming and complaining that the coach's tactics were bad, and the coach heard him. He spoke in English and Italian. And what happened was, the coach was really unhappy by his behavior, and he asked that Sule Muntari was supposed to be sent back home because Sule Muntari was being disrespectful and indisciplined in the camp. But Koshina Techi Ochekesin and a couple of the senior guys calmed down the coach and said, "You may not even play him, but we need him as a squad player." And Suleiman Muntari was complaining because how could we let Harry Kane be sent off in the 24th minute and could not also score a goal? Germany had also lost 1-0 against Serbia. Ghana could also be knocked out if Serbia had a win against Australia. So it was really a very bad situation at the camp. But what happened was Ghana went into the game against Germany hoping to get a draw or a win. Ghana played so well to the point that we even dominated the game against Germany, only to lose to a miracle shot by Mesut Ozil, the next stage of the World Cup, and become eventual semi-finalists. Ghana eventually qualified to the next stage of the competition, only to meet a familiar foe, the United States of America. And remember, Ghana had beaten the United States of America in the year 2006. Ghana beat them 2-1. Ghana scored the first goal, and mind you, that was going to be Ghana's first goal from open play. In the game against Australia, we scored a penalty kick, and in the game against Serbia, we scored a penalty kick. So Kevin Boateng's goal in the 5th minute was a goal that Ghana scored from open play in the first time in the tournament. The centre back called Jonathan Mensah, who was a rookie centre back at the time, made a tackle on Clemcy, and then the United States had a penalty kick only to convert for the game to be 1-1. Now, mind you, the United States were piling pressure on Ghana to make sure they could get an eventual winner against the Black Stars of Ghana, but it didn't happen because Ochilolo Lekinson showed up on the day and made some amazing saves for the Black Stars of Ghana. The game ended 1-1, but it had to go on extra time. Right in the extra time, Ghana were defending, soaking up pressure, and Ghana had a counter-attack, and Andre Ayew found Asamoah Gyan, and Asamoah Gyan scored a miraculous goal, and Ghana has scored 2-1 again. Mind you, Ghana played 120 minutes of football against the United States. The fatigue was really setting in. After the game, Ghana was really tired but very proud because they had done something only 2 African countries had done ever in the World Cup. And one thing that really gave the team momentum was that Ghana scored from open play, and then we had another scorer too, who was not Asamoah Gyan. Ghana's next game was to meet against Uruguay. There were so many positives going into the game against Uruguay, but the negatives were that Andre Ayew, our young pacey winger, was going to be unavailable for the game against Uruguay. And then Jonathan Mensah was also going to be unavailable in the game against Uruguay. So Boateng came in instead of Jonathan Mensah, and Suleiman Muntari also replaced Andre Ayew. Kevin Boateng too got injured in a game against the United States and was brought off. Many South Africans were supporting Ghana and adopted Ghana as their own national team. They even nicknamed Ghana's national team Bagana instead of theirs Bafana, which means the boys. The entire South African nation were behind Ghana. Even there were the ruling political party in South Africa issued a statement and said they were proud of Ghana for how Ghana has saved South Africa as a country. And in the game against Uruguay, it was a game that Ghana was really tired because they had played 120 minutes of game time against the United States. Uruguay played against South Korea, and despite them 2-1 in just regular time. So Uruguay had a lot of strength in them. Moving into the game, Uruguay started the game with very high intensity, forcing Richard Kensington to make a lot of saves in the first half. Ghana had to depend on Richard Kensington for that particular game. So the guy was supposed to be at an empty space in the middle of the park and scored an important goal for Ghana to lead 1-0 in the first half of the game. In the second half, Diego Forlan had a free kick and scored an important goal for Uruguay against Ghana, which was a free kick, so it was 1-1. So Ghana was the only team to play the extra time in quarterfinals and then extra time in round of 16. In the 74th minute, and Edia came in also for Muntari in an attempt to get a goal for Ghana to prevent Ghana from going to penalty kicks. In the final seconds of the second half of the extra time, Ghana had one last chance to avoid a penalty shootout when they were awarded a free kick in Uruguay's half. John Pencil delivered a perfect cross into the penalty box, which was headed right in front of goal, forcing Musiala to come out and thwart an attempted header with his fist. The ball went to appear for a half volley towards an open net, came off Luis Suarez's legs, who had allegedly moved to the center of the vacated goal line. With the ball suspended in the air, time stopped. Edia forcefully headed the ball back into the net, only for Suarez to handle the ball with his hands. So when Edia headed the ball back into the net, Luis Suarez handled the ball right in front of the penalty line, and that was going to be a clean goal. Yes, and Ghana was awarded a penalty kick. I think that was Ghana's chance to qualify to the next stage of the World Cup. That was what no African team had ever done. Asamoah Gyan blasted the ball off the crossbar. The ball went into the sky. Oh my God, hope of Africa was dashed. Asamoah Gyan had made that penalty kick. Prior to this penalty miss, Asamoah Gyan had missed only one penalty in his entire career. It was that penalty kick against Czech in the 2006 World Cup. In that game, Asamoah Gyan scored and missed a penalty. But because Ghana won, nobody really spoke about Asamoah Gyan missing a penalty kick. To miss a match-winning penalty at that young age, in a match of that caliber, was something that Asamoah Gyan can never really forget. With Uruguay back in the game, Uruguay took the penalty kicks and then Uruguay won. Asamoah Gyan scored that penalty kick for Ghana, but his teammates never really bounced back again. Ghana, who had the host of Africa on his neck, couldn't qualify for the next stage of the competition. And in 2012, Asamoah Gyan had another penalty kick to play for Ghana against Zambia in 2012. And when he stood behind the penalty kick, he missed it again against Kennedy Mwene. Asamoah Gyan had missed the penalty again. And he received a lot of verbal abuse from Ghanaians because Ghanaians were not happy about how we could not progress to the 2012 AFCON. 2012, Asamoah Gyan retired temporarily from the Black Stars of Ghana team. In 2013, he was back again playing for Ghana. This time, he said he wasn't going to play penalties because his mother had advised him not to play penalties for Ghana. Mubarak Wakasu was the one that was selected to play penalties, and Mubarak Wakasu was delivering. So after 5 years, Asamoah Gyan took another penalty in 2017 against United States and missed again. Ever since then, he didn't play any penalty kick again. Now Asamoah Gyan is retired, and Ghana Black Stars really stood for something in the 2010 World Cup. I'll be giving you back-to-back content on YouTube. The best yet to come. Bye for now.